Hello everyone, this is ONNIE and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those who are new to my channel, this channel talks about Korean culture, Korean way of life, places to visit in the countryside, and married immigrants' way of life here in Korea. So if you are interested in this kind of topics, please subscribe and hit that notification bell for you to be notified every time I will post a new video. Today, let me guide you to one of the most visited places here in Gangjin County. We will visit Dasan Chodang, the house where a well-known scholar way back in the late Joseon Dynasty here in Gangjin lived. Dasan Chodang, some people called it the House of Tasan, and to some they called it the thatched cottage of Tasan. For me, I like to call it Dasan Chodang. So join me now and let me give you a tour. Before I go any further, I would like to make a disclaimer that the information I will be saying here is based on the information I found in the internet as best as I can. I'm not an expert as to the life of Tasan and about on how he lived in the past. So if you are interested to know about the life of Tasan, I would suggest you go to the museums built in honor of Tasan, or seek the opinions of an expert Korean historian for that matter. This video was made just to give a glimpse of the places often visited in my county.
Good morning, guys. Hello. This is ONNIE. And today we're going to visit up the hill, the house of a very famous scholar here in Korea in the late Joseon Dynasty. His main name is called Tasan. He was exiled in Gangjin County for almost 18 years, and he has lived in the cottage of the hill for almost 10 years. So let me guide you to his place. It's a long walk up in the hill, so bear with me. A lot of people who are interested in studying Korean history go to this place, and maybe they want to know how Tasan lived during his time. And as you can see, his house is very secluded, and his house is up the top of the hill, and the village people are living below. So this place had been maintained by our county because a lot of people come here to visit, not only in a neighboring town but also from all over Korea. Hey, there's lots of mosquitoes. Come on, join me.
Chodang is located near the Mandoeksan Mountain. Jeong Yak Yong, I hope I pronounced it correctly, who is popularly known as Tasan, his pen name, has lived here for almost 18 years, more specifically around from 1762 to 1836 during his exile. As a scholar of that time, he has also contributed a lot to the development of practical learning, which is called shilhak in Korean, during his exile in Gangjin County, and it is believed that most of his well-known written literatures, such as poems, letters, and books, were written in this house.
Down here. You can also hear the sound of the crickets. I love nature. I think this is one of the reasons that Tasan chose to live in this place. It's just like it's hard to climb up. Let me see. Come on, let's go.
You may ask, who is Tasan? Well, Tasan is one of the great philosophers in the Joseon era, very much interested in philosophy, science, and anything that involves in governance of the people. In fact, he has written lots of books about his ideas on these subjects and was able to hold a very important administrative position in the early Korean government. In his time, he was a close confidant of King Jeong Yak Yong, who ruled in the year 1776 to 1800 and was considered as a great poet too. So, what brought his exile? Well, after the death of King Jeong Yak Yong in 1800, the next king, who was named King Song-ju, was still very young to rule. He was only 11 years of age, so the governance was given to the widowed queen, whose family was not a believer of the Catholic faith. Also, Tasan welcomes the changes such as ideas and philosophies that are happening in the world, which is hard to accept by some political leaders in his time. Also, at that time, Tasan's older brother was the leader of the Catholic community. Tasan's older brother was arrested and executed, and a month later, his son, who was Tasan's nephew, was also executed. On the other hand, Tasan was captured, interrogated, and even tortured for them to find out if he was a believer of the Catholic faith. And when it was found out that he was not, he was sentenced to be exiled in Gangjin County for almost 18 years. Having no sufficient provisions for himself, when arriving in his place of exile, he found settlement in a back room of a poor and run-down inn, owned by a widow, and stayed there for a short period of time. He called his room Saoije. In English, it means a room of 4 obligations, which are serious appearance, clear thinking, quiet talking, and sincere actions. Quiet deep, isn't it? It was in the spring of 1808 when Tasan moved on the slopes of a hill overlooking Gangjin County and Gangjin Bay. It was nothing of a luxurious house. It was just simple, with a thatched roof believed to be owned by a distant relative of his mother, and believed that the remaining 10 years of his exile were spent in this house, which we now call Dasan Chodang. What you are looking in this video right now is the house that Tasan lived in those times. My dear viewers, I will leave you for a moment. Take a look and make an impression, or imagine how it was like for Tasan in those times. Would you like to live that kind of life too? As I walk and see Tasan's dwelling, I gained so much admiration for this man. He lived a very productive life, considering his being in exile. I could feel the loneliness in this place. So once again, we now come to an end of this video, hoping I have given some ideas of how Koreans lived, not only in the present, but in the past as well. For me, I learned to embrace the Korean culture and found the beauty in it. So if you are planning to visit Korea, don't forget to check this place. This is ONNIE, wishing you all a blissful days ahead. See you in my next video.